Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dave's Top 3,000 Songs of the Rock Era. You probably tell I'm on vacation. I'm taking a tour of Patagonia for the next couple of weeks. This is the hotel room. Anyway, I'm going to continue this feature as long as I can on this trip. I probably won't be able to do these every day, but I'll do as much as I can. Anyway, I'm doing it today, and today I'm up to song number 2314, and that one is Uptown by the Crystals. This came out in 1962. Here's a picture of the single, and it was also released on their 1962 album called Twist Uptown. And here's a picture of the Crystals around the time they recorded it. Pretty big girl group from the early 60s. There were a lot of them. Anyway, I'll get to them in a minute. First, I want to feature a sample of this song and react to it. So here it goes.
He gets up each morning and he goes downtown, where everyone's his boss and he's lost in an angry land. He's a little man, but then he comes uptown each evening to my tenement. Uptown where folks don't have to pay much rent. And when he's there with me, he can see that he's everything. Then he's tall, he don't crawl, he's a king. Downtown he's just one of a million guys. He don't get no breaks and he takes all they got to give. Cause he's got to live.
Okay, that's the first minute of Uptown by the Crystals. I think it's a good song. You can pretty much tell what it's about from the lyrics about a poor boy from downtown who has a lousy 9 to 5 job, I guess, and he just has to do it to make ends meet. But he has a girlfriend who lives uptown, and every night he goes to visit her uptown, and then he feels like a different person, and she makes him feel like a different person, makes him feel complete. And I think this kind of thing was going on a lot when the song came out, so I think it appealed to a lot of young, struggling people around that time, a lot of young men and their devoted girlfriends. And I think it's a good song. And it was one of many songs produced by this guy here, Phil Spector. You guys probably heard of him. He was in the 60s, he was one of the most famous record producers in the music business. Unfortunately, he turned out to be a murderer. About 30 years later, he shot a woman in the mouth and went to jail for 12 years for it and finally died in prison. Not a good fate for him. But, whatever you think about Phil Spector, he was a pretty amazing record producer. He was known for his wall of sound, which he used with most of the records he made in the early to mid 60s, particularly involving, a lot of the girl groups he helped produce, like the Crystals. Just thought I'd mention him. And, maybe I should get back to the Crystals. I think I said pretty much everything I have to say about their hit song Uptown, but they had a lot of other hits. They were a pretty successful girl group. They were from New York City, kind of an R&B girl group from New York City. They were originally together from 1960 to 1967. Then they broke up, but they reunited in 1970, and I believe they're still performing today, even though I'm sure they're all very old now. But the original members included Barbara Alston, Mary Thomas, Dolores or Dee Dee, Ken Brew, Myrna Guerrero and Patricia or Patsy Wright. So those were the Crystals, and I think they've had a few membership changes since, but pretty good group, and they had a lot of hits. I'm just gonna go through their hits. Their first Billboard Hot 100 hit came out in 1961. It was called "There's No Other Like My Baby." That went to number 20. And then in 1962, they had the song I'm featuring today, Uptown, which went to number 13. And later that year, they had their, I guess it was their only number one hit. It was called He's a Rebel, and pretty excellent song. That was coming up quite a bit higher on my list. A few of these other songs are as well. And then later that year, he had He's Sure the Boy I Love, which went to number 11. And then in 1963, they had another big hit called "The Do Ron Ron," subtitled "When He Walked Me Home." That one went to number 3. That later was covered by none other than Sean Cassidy, younger brother of David Cassidy, in 1977. Surprisingly, his version went all the way to number 1, and the Crystals didn't, which I think is pretty weird. Uh, and then later that year, they had one of my favorite songs by then, a song called Then He Kissed Me, which went to number 6. I believe that one was covered by the Beach Boys later. I think it was Carl Wilson who sang the lead on that one. Again, I think the Crystals version was far superior. Um, and then in 1964, they had a song called Little Boy, which went to 92. And finally, a song called All Grown Up, which went to number 98. So those were the hits for the Crystals, a pretty prolific rural group from the early to mid 60s. And that concludes my feature on Uptown by the Crystals. So thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.